G'day everybody, how you going? My name is Ben. This is the ActivPanel Titanium. Let's have a closer look at it. What you can see here is a very robust, strong panel. It can handle a lot of the knocks and bumps that come with being in a classroom. It's got a lot of ports to connect just about any device you can think of. Yes, of course, laptops and teaching computers, but don't forget to think outside the box with what you teach with. We've also got really easy to access buttons. They're all a different size. You can work your way through them by feel. Strong speakers, and down here we've got some proximity sensors, and they're really cool because what they do is sense when there is students coming into your classroom, and the panel will silently boot. It'll leave the screen black like this, so when the teacher is ready to teach, they just tap on it and they can get to work. And here I'm going to choose my user account and I am right in ready to teach. You get a lot of pens with the Titanium, and these are passive devices. They just work. You don't need to sync them. They don't need charging. They don't have batteries. And they can have multiple functions depending on how you set them up. So you could set the end up to erase or write, and you've got your little writing end here. And they're quite a nice weight too, so they are a nice tool. You also get an eraser, which you can use to erase notes, which is pretty excellent. You don't always have to use that. You can configure the board so that when you wipe it with your hand, it will erase too, and I'll show you that in a minute. And of course you get a nice remote too, and that's really handy for bringing up menus or swapping sources and things like that. It's a nice addition as well. All right, let's dive into the fun stuff. Let me take you into the panel and show you all the things you can do. First thing I want to point out is that wherever you're standing, you can access the teacher tools you need at an instant. So you're never going to get stranded without, for example, you're never going to get stranded without a home button to go home to this screen, or a back button. And the back button's really handy because it will work in any app or any part of the operating system here on the Android. So as a teacher, when you're looking after a room full of students, it's comforting to know that you can always go home. It's comforting to know you can always go back. This button here, it's got my name on it. There's a little picture of a person. You can customize that picture if you'd like, but this denotes user accounts. The panel can have 10 different accounts, and you can set them up however you'd like, per teacher, per faculty. It's up to you. You've got the option to connect multiple Google Drives, multiple OneDrives to each account. And then as you can see, let me close that, swipe in, tap on accounts. The little lock icon here shows you that you can set up a PIN and have all your information, all your data, all your files backed up and locked up nice and safe on the panel. Moving along, I'm going to show you the locker. And the locker is great because this is exactly like a locker in the hallways at your school. This is where you keep all your stuff, and you can keep the locker nice and clean and empty, or you can keep it like mine and have it full of all the apps you like to teach with. You know, there's Chrome, there's Google Drive. I love the GoPro app, Jamboard, Toontastic, Promethean apps such as panel management, screen share, the spinners and the timers. They're a lot of fun too. These spinners and timers will float over anything, any connected device. They will just stay there. So it can be a really fun exercise. Let's give myself 15 minutes and let's just let that run while I continue this demonstration. Okay, diving in. One more look at the locker. You've got an option here to tap on settings, and this is pretty much all the settings you're going to need to teach with day to day. So we've got your volume, brightness, contrast as well, and options to set up between lean reject, so you can lean and write on the panel, or my personal favorite, palm erase, where you can erase things with the back of your hand or the broad side of your hand. And then you've got options to decide whether you want the pen to be both ends to write with, or you can set one end up to be an eraser too. You can also configure the size of your buttons as well, which is pretty exciting. I'm just going to keep everything nice and big because that's the way I like it. Let's slide in to the unified menu one more time, and let me show you some of the recent apps I've got open. And I love recent apps because it becomes a really fast way to teachers to bounce between what they've got open. So I've got my browser open here. Let me just move my clock, my timer over here. All the windows float. You can have multiple things running on the panel in different instances. And if you want, you can explode things out into full screen, or you can snap them to one side. Here I'm just going to prepare a quick little lesson. I'm talking about Behind the News because, you know, it's a great little news site for primary and secondary students. It tells the news, but it doesn't over dramatize it, or, you know, it just does a really good job of balancing young people's emotions when they're watching the news. I think that's really good. I'm also going to open up my YouTube app here, and I've got Behind the News YouTube, Behind the News their website, and I can bounce between the two. What I would like to do though is snap YouTube to this side, and then what I'm going to do is snap the browser to this side, so I can work side by side simultaneously. Very nice experience. The other thing I really want to show you now is when we swipe in one more time, I'm going to show you the on-screen annotator. Powerful little tool that will annotate over anything that you get on the screen. So it's just got a simple little dialog box here. Going to choose a medium-sized red pen, and I'm going to talk to my students about where they might go to view this video. So they can either go to YouTube and view it here, or they might like to go via the ABC's website and view the file there on the web. It's a pretty basic example, but the annotator's really quite exciting. You can get control over it really quickly. If you want to change things around, you absolutely can. And like I said, there's my first little tease there of the gesture support this panel has. Let me close that annotator. Let me go back home to minimize those apps, and let's have a look at some of the other buttons we've got here. And for this little demonstration, what I might do is I think I will bring back the browser, and I'm just going to bring up a little bit of text that I find interesting. Let's annotate. This time I'm going to highlight. I'm going to go a nice yellow highlighter with a nice wide ink. And I'm just going to talk about this paragraph here. All right. That's an interesting way to highlight, but that's how I like to highlight. Okay, so I've got some text highlighted there. We decide that this is a meaningful bit of discussion. What I can do now is I can tap on this capture button, which gives me the option to screenshot what I want. I don't want the timer. I don't even really want the interface here. In fact, all I really want is this paragraph here. So I can crop in there really nicely, click done, tweak it a little bit further if I'd like, and then finally open it in the whiteboard. Saves out a copy of this image, and it also brings it into the whiteboard here for me to do some further work on. I can bring students up to the board and we can get some more learning done. Very exciting. The whiteboard itself has lots of features. I'm just going to run through a couple of them now. Split screen mode, it's a fantastic way for two groups of students to attack a problem together. You can overlay a timer. You can overlay all sorts of apps over the top of this, so it can be a really fun, interactive learning space. They get two sets of tools, including maths tools and things like that. And I know maths doesn't necessarily fit this example, but just to give you a little taste of it, I can show you that depending on how you set up the tool, you can actually get it to perform different tasks just by tapping on that little dot down there. And it can be a very, very fun way to work and do some instruction there too. Particularly, let me tap on that button, when you realize that anything you put into this whiteboard becomes an object that can be moved around and worked with. You can, of course, leverage the inbuilt charts and templates, mind maps, periodic tables, hundreds charts. They're all built right into the panel. Or you can also bring in images that you've snapped earlier, saved from the web, or got on a connected USB. You can bring all that in, and then you can create some really dynamic lessons in this endless, move my little timer over there, in this endless canvas. If you look up in the top right hand corner, you can see this canvas is huge. It can go in any direction. And I'm just going to quickly whiz through a couple of exercises that some teachers have made. So with just a moment's work, you can create these sorts of challenges where you can, let's move that back over there, S-O-R-T, sorting, very nice. Now if you decide you don't want some of those letters, you know what to do, you can erase them just by using your hand. That's really nice. You can also quickly write them in too. And I could walk over there and use the pen tool, but because I know my panel understands me, I'm going to just write with my stylus. And even though I'm on the move tool, it knows when I come up to the panel with my pen that I want to write. And that's, just really, really cool gesture support. So I'm going to change that word there to sorbet, just for a bit of fun. So it becomes a very fluid exercise to do some writing, some erasing, and then some moving without having to always refer to the toolbar. Quite a lot of fun. Before you know it, you'll be making all sorts of exciting activities just in our whiteboard with just a few moments of your time. Coming over this side, I just want to show you the page button here, so you can set up your page to have different colors. Let's go a very nice off blue, which can be exciting and easier on the eyes for some students, where you can change the lines on the paper. You want them bigger, you want them smaller, pinch and zoom. If they're a little bit hard to see, we can change the color of the lines too. And there's a lot of built-in options in that dialog box. You can get a lot of work done in there without too much effort. Again, moving down the toolbar, 5 default colors, bigger contextual color palettes depending on whether you're on highlighter or pen. You've got eraser tools, you've got those maths tools, and you've got time travel tools down the bottom here. So if you make a mistake, you can go forward and backwards through time. No big deal. Very exciting. Again, down the bottom, if I direct your eyes down here, you can see that we can pin the whiteboard to half of the screen. We could perhaps bring back that trusty behind the news article, and we'll pin that to the other side this time. And then we can make notes this way. So we could look at this paragraph And we can talk about India's comments. What does this mean? All right, lots of fun in the whiteboard. Tapping home. I want to show you our screen share app, which is giving the students in the room the ability to share their work up onto the panel. G'day everyone, welcome back. Sorry, the delivery guy came, so I had to do a hard chop. What I've got to show you here is the inside of Screen Share. So Screen Share can be a little floating app like this, or it can be, you know, take over the full screen. I've got my phone connected here. I'll show you what that looks like. Tap on that. And you can see within my phone and the apps and all those sorts of things as I swipe through the screens. I could show you some work I've been working on in my iPad. I could go to Google and we could do a class together like this. Very, very interesting. What I can also do is I'm just going to leave the phone now and I'm going to take you into my computer, because this I think is quite exciting, because this talks about touchback. I'm in my laptop now, transmitting through space and time and thin air. I can manipulate the computer just like this. I can open apps. Let me fire up the launcher. I can do all those sorts of things. Let me just tap off that. And here I am in ActiveInspire, and I can make some notes, do some drawing, and just engage with my laptop. And it's not even connected, which I think is a pretty exciting thing. Now, ActiveInspire comes with the panel. There's a massive ecosystem of resources just within ActiveInspire, let's be honest. If I were to open up a grid, let's have a look what we can find in here. Yeah, let's bring over the crosses and grids. We just drop it onto the page like that. There's just a lot in here. And if you can't find what you want in here, let's go out to the resource library on the web. I'm gonna reload it here. Here's one I prepared earlier. But with a free account, you can come in here and you can leverage almost 50,000 flip charts. You can organize them into collections based on topics. This home page here refreshes every now and then, you know, to make it more topical and things like that. You see we've got a coronavirus resource here that's quite popular at the moment for explaining things to young people. There's a lot of good stuff in here. And if you want, you can tap on your three dots and you can open it directly in ActiveInspire. You follow the prompts. When you go back to ActiveInspire, you will see it download and open up, which is pretty cool. That's a big flip chart, this one. There's lots of information in there. Hey, and there it is. And we can go in and we can interact with this page. We can see all the different pages here that we can work through with students. Of course, they can use the panels annotation tools, or they can use the ones built directly into ActiveInspire with touchback. We can have a flip through this document and look at all the different pages. ActiveInspire is a really exciting part of the Promethean experience. I'd like to spend a minute now to talk about the Promethean Chromebox, which has been designed in conjunction with Google. I'm going to swipe in, I'm going to go to source, HDMI 2, and here we are. What you'll see here is that it's a desktop experience optimized for touch, plus it gives you the ability to run apps. It's really a culmination of a whole lot of great things. I've got a little endless wordplay app going on here. I've got the Chrome Music Lab over here, and then I've got a traditional browser here too. And the browser, fantastic, because it's a full desktop browser here. If I bring up my annotator one more time, you will see we've got the ability to use extensions. You will see that, you know, some websites, they send down a mobile version. This is the full version of Behind the News, which just makes the experience for students and teachers that much more seamless. Of course, we can snap and we can multitask. That's something we can do on our panels as well with the titanium and the cobalt. Let me show you a couple of things here. Least of all, one of my favorite things in Chrome is that you can talk to it. So, okay, Google, open up my Google Drive, please. What fun is that? If I want to close that, you know how to do it. You tap on the X. We can jump into the Chrome Lab here. I can pass it to a student. We can resize things really quickly and easily, or go full screen. I'm just going to close my little mate Endless here. There we go. Nice. I'm just going to jump into the Chrome Lab here. Let's bring up the harmonics. You can have a bit of fun in there. The other thing I'd like to show you, you can't play with Chrome Music Labs without going into the oscillators and having a bit of fun here. Thanks for watching this brief introduction to the Promethean ActivePanel Titanium. We can go a lot further in a lot more detail. These panels can be really customized to the learning or the teaching environment you deliver in. If you'd like to know more, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you for your time.